Welcome to Council of the North. We have episode 2 tonight. And my name is Will Schaff, and tonight with me I have Andrew Barbazan.
Greetings.
And Zach Fleming.
Hello.
Tonight we're gonna go over some stuff from the last episode. We got tournament updates from Zach and Andrew for being at the 100-point event for the OSBGO. We're also going to talk a bit about painting miniatures. We had a couple people mention wanting to hear a bit about that. We're going to go, basically, Zach and I are a base level, just trying to get armies ready for tournaments, while Andrew is kind of I call him a professional painter. So we're going to hear from him and kind of each of us give our own views on motivation and stuff like that. And then we're going to do our first guest interview with Kyle Vandegraaf. He was the winner of spoiler alert, he was the winner of the 100-point tournament that happened this past weekend that Andrew and Zach both attended. And then after that, we'll just kind of sum up some stuff for our league, but we're going to go ahead and get right into it with the tournament update with Andrew and Zach. Why don't you guys both, just starting with Andrew, just remind us of what your lists were that you brought and what your goal was for the day.
The list I brought is quite shameful. It was Depths of Moria, the Balrog, 3 captains, 5 prowlers, and whatever the rest of that, and sword or spear and shield, Moria goblins.
Yeah, you were into the 50 models?
53 models, and my objective was to shame all the Depths of Moria players into playing real armies, because that list is so easy. And my placement proves it.
All right, your actual goal was 3-1, but anyway,
my actual goal was 3-1.
Zach, what was your army list and your goal for the tournament?
Okay. Just starting off, I don't think it was stated, but it was a 725 points tournament.
Correct. Yep.
I took Battle of Fornost, starting off with Aenor, mounted, and lance, obviously, with 6 Knights of Minas Tirith, 3 Warriors of Minas Tirith and Shield, 2 Warriors of Minas Tirith with Shield and Spear. Then Glorfindel, Lord of the West, mounted on Asphaloth. 6 Rivendell Warriors with Shield, 4 Rivendell Warriors with Shield and Elven Spear, 1 with a banner. And then I took Aranath to round out the rest of my army with 10 Hobbit Archers.
Oh, I love that.
35 models.
It's a good model count for having 2 of the big heroes.
It's pretty much what I find is useful about having the hobbits in the list, is just pump my numbers up a little bit.
Yeah.
And what was your objective? What was your goal?
Oh yeah.
My objective was to go at least 2-2, hopefully go 3-1 if I could. But goal would be to do at least 2-2.
Nice. So, like Zach said, 725 points. This is the first 100-point tournament of the new edition for us. And with our league coming to an end, I think there was a rumor it's coming to an end in about October. And we've only had, I forget, I looked back at it, but this season we've only had 2 100-point events, or 2 or 3 100-point events. So this was a big one for all the competitive guys coming out, for sure. But round 1, we had To the Death. Andrew, can you tell us about your matchup and what they played and how the scenario went for you?
Yeah, drawing to death to start the day, playing depths feels pretty good. Pretty hard to lose that. I face Mr. James Marth with Army of the Great Eye. I think that's what it is, with the eye token. That does a lot less than I thought it did. And it's only a 3-inch range as well. And then he rolled a 1 time, and I moved it 12 inches away from the fight. It kind of just put it out of the game. Anyway, so that's my grade I review. He had Witch King on Fell Beast. He had a bunch of Black Numenorians in the front, Moranids in the back, and the Mouth of Sauron. Seemed like a fairly decent list. But I had the Balrog, so
When you walked up, were you thinking like, "Oh, I'm going to win this game," or
yeah, I was pretty
Yeah.
confident. Like the Witch King can't strike up to fight 10, so I can fight the Witch King freely. And if he's fighting and killing goblins, I don't care. And it actually ended up that the goblins he botched a roll. Goblins won, prowlers with +2 to wound. I got like 4 or 5 wounds because I had six or so goblins striking, and 1 wound, 3 fate. You can only go so far with the Witch King.
Yeah.
That's the downside of wraiths, obviously. And then my lines were like folding in on the edges, but around the Balrog I was tied fight with insane fight for prowlers and captains, and the Balrog doing Balrog things. So there wasn't much to say. It would have been tough. It would have been tough without like something like a troll chieftain that can strike up to fight 10 and that can wound it. And then the Witch King didn't have Morgul Blade, so he didn't have a lot of options. So I took that one 17-3, which was I could only get 18 points because I didn't have a banner.
Yeah, it feels like a good scenario matchup for you for sure.
Yeah, for sure. There wasn't a whole lot of strategy or tactics going on. It was just, I have the Balrog.
Yeah, just keep pushing the models forward.
Yeah.
All right, that's a good start to your day, though.
Oh yeah, I went in feeling good. Came out feeling good. Much better than Zach did. That's for sure.
Speaking of which, so to the death, round 1, Zach, what army did you come up against?
So I started off with Defenders of the Helm's Deep. And it was more of a
I don't think you did. I think you have Defenders of the Pelennor.
Yeah.
Oh, Defenders of the Pelennor. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Don't listen to me. Defenders of the Pelennor. And it was more of a fiefdoms based list hidden in the Defenders the Pelennor. Emre Hill Mounted Knights with some Foot Ministerius. Duinier with some Blackroot Vale Archers. And Angbor with a couple Clansmen and a couple Axemen was the list. I ended up coming out on top 11-7.
Did you think you'd win from like when you walked to the table? Were you like, I think I can beat this fiefdoms?
I felt like I was in a good position because he has Emre Hill, who's definitely strong, but I think my combination of Glorfindel and Aenor are stronger than his other options, especially when it comes down to killing your alternate heroes, which is probably what, in a way, put me into trouble in the first place, with Aenor having to charge a hero, which I was okay with early on. I think it was like turn 2 or 3. I was able to get a great charge off on Angbor and killed him that turn, then proceeded to lose priority, lose the heroic move, and get swarmed in the following phase. And Emery Hill was able to countercharge Aenor, and he died, which was rough. It also hurt because I was basically playing without an entire warband with how the deployment ended up. Just try to run Aranath up to keep up with everybody else, and my Hobbit archers were stuck behind terrain. We're completely out of the game, pretty much.
Into the death, you start far apart. Did you do much shooting, or were you guys just running at each other?
I got one Knight of Dol Amroth killed in the first turn with Aranath. I believe I used a might point to kill him too, which was nice because it scared his knights away from that flank. But the rest of his army was out of range of my Hobbit archers, and that 18-inch really affected their usage. And then our battle lines collapsed. He kind of held his position in a defensive place between some objectives. So my hobbits didn't really get any shots as I tried to like just jam the rest of my warriors up there to fight him. Losing my general early was tough. It was a theme pretty much throughout the entire tournament for me. But I was able to dismount Emery Hill later, which eliminated a lot of his killing potential and slowed him down. And thankfully, Glorfindel was able to do some work and kill his banner, kill Duanir, and was like cleaning up his backside, which I think led to me breaking him, not being broken. I had a banner at the end of the game, which was extremely useful. So I was able to claw out here in 11-7 win. Closer than I would have liked,
Nice.
but I pulled it out.
Nice. We both won 1-0 to start the day, which is nice. And then round 2, we went into stake a claim, which is the new scenario where I believe you're keeping track of you're scoring fortification points throughout the game, right?
Yeah.
5 objectives.
And so you're continually scoring, and you can double or triple their amount, however that works. But Andrew, who did you face? What did they play? And did you think you were going to win?
I was against Jonathan Y., who I have played against once before at your tournament, Will, and we tied.
He also, I think he won the Barry tournament, right? With his Men of the West?
I believe you may have done, yeah. Which is great considering I believe he's a newer player and he's already out there winning tournaments, and we were going toe-to-toe pretty well. And we tied in our first game we played. So it's nice to see another strong player coming out. Yeah, he had Men of the West again, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He had Elisar, Legolas, Gimli, bunch of Minas Tirith warriors and some Rohan spears and a few Rohan bows, which is interesting. His bows, other than Legolas, did literally nothing. I felt kind of bad for that, but yeah, did I think I was going to win? I thought that if I could take down Aragorn, I would win, because he can actually strike up to fight 10, and plus all the might. But Legolas and Gimli, I'm not super scared of them. They are good, but at 53 models, they can't do that much. I marched forward first turn and I got the center objective. So I was up for fortification points from the first turn, and I had more models, so I was just scoring all the points except for his home objective. Basically, I was getting at least 1 point on from everything, and then 2 from mine, and then eventually 2 from the center one too when I pushed him off it. Aragorn got surrounded. I can't remember if it was, I think he lost a fight to goblins. Yeah, he pulled the Balrog off Aragorn, which I didn't think he could do, but he snuck a guy in there when I guess I didn't see. But Aragorn lost the fight to goblins, and I had 2 strikes, and I put them on his horse, and he spent 3 fate to save his horse. So that was amazing, or 2 fate or something like that. Something very unlucky. Or 2 fate and a might to save his horse. And then, he struck a couple times, and then I just didn't charge the Balrog into Aragorn. I didn't hurl combat into him.
Mm-hmm.
Or I just, pull him off with goblins or whatever. It was just, eventually, when he didn't have might left and he used his free point to call a move, I combated in, and I did 2 wounds to him with the Balrog, and then the Set Ablaze did the final wound at the end of the turn, which was kind of thematic. And Aragorn died, and then from there, there was just nothing he could really do. I did try to get him off his own objective, not that it really would have mattered. And 2 Rohan warriors fought off the Balrog. Thankfully, didn't wound him. which is kind of funny. And there was one turn where Legolas shot the only goblin that could touch one of the objectives within 3, denying me points, which is kind of cool. Well, annoying for me, but it was cool. And yeah, so that was a 9-0 victory for me, which was, for how well I did, like that's leader kill as well, but it was, I think it was only the 4 points for having more fortification points, 3 for leader, and then, or 2 for leader and 3 for breaking, something like that. It wasn't a lot of points because I couldn't double his fortification points. It's pretty tough to score well in that unless you're like absolutely dominating. Because if you both share an objective, you're both still getting 1 point. So it's hard to really pull ahead.
Do you both get a point, or is it the person with more models around gets a point?
The way
You
I
get
read
a
it is
point for each. If you have an objective that's all in the clear, you get the 2 points. If you have the most people close to an objective, you get 1 point. And so it's like it's hard to pull ahead if you're only getting 1. Like if you tie them all up, you might only get 1 more point than your opponent that round.
I think we actually played that wrong. I was giving him points just for having models around.
I think it's the one with the most points gets the 1 point, but
Yeah, it's
if
the one with the
you
most should be getting a point, and then the other
Okay,
person
so
doesn't get one.
but you
I should
get
have had more
less than if
VPs
you
than that.
own it with nobody else around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I should have some more fortification points with that anyway.
Yeah, but still, you're looking
Whatever,
at
it
maybe
doesn't
another
matter.
4 points if you double them or something like that.
It's
Yeah.
I agree with you on your original statement of it. I think it is really hard unless you're just outplaying or just outspeeding, I would even say, to the objective where you can keep their line away from the objective.
All right, well, that was a good win. Zach, your round 2. Walk us through your opponent, stake a claim, what they played. Did you think you were going to win when you walked into the table?
I played Kyle Vandegraaf, who is a good player in the league.
Yep.
He brought Host of the Witch King. I'd never played it before. It was very. I don't know if I was not confident going into it. I maybe was a bit more confident than I should have been.
It's
He
a
had a
pretty
lot of
wild
magic.
list. A wild list that we don't
And
see very often.
no, exactly. And my army is, as per its army bonus, everybody's resistant to magic,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of a nice feature when you're coming up against a heavy magic force. The problem is when you have so many magic casters and your will disappears rather quickly. The bear wait's paralyzed. You can't risk letting your hero get dismounted. So you got to spend. I flopped a paralyzed dice. He rolled a 6. I think I rolled a 4, and I burned 2 might to keep him on his horse.
Yeah.
Which already puts me behind, and then it didn't matter in the end because he just got dismounted later. Absolutely great play on his part. I took an early lead with the fortification points. I was able to capture 3 of the objectives solely and was able to collect the points off of them. But he also got like a really nice play early on, keeping my Glorfindel away, like moving him away. So it's like now I got to spend a whole nother turn trying to get back in position with him. A very strong list. He played it very well. Eventually, I just started to crumble because so much of my list is based off the back of Glorfindel and Aenor putting in work, at least the way I play it. I rely really heavily on them killing a lot of stuff, chomping through some lines, capturing objectives, whatever the scenario. They're the backbone of my list. And I think this list does a really good job of shutting down your big heroes.
Mm-hmm.
If you were like more of a hoardy list, I think it would have a lot more tougher time. But I got smaller numbers, 2 guys that you can easily try and focus and keep them shut down, push them away from what they need. And my resistant magic just did not help me at all. By probably halfway through, he started to be able to push the advantage with his numbers, push me off the objectives, slowly take control. I lost Aenor. He did win 12-0. I'm thankful that it's really hard to do the doubling of the fortification points or tripling to get those extra points. He just had more than me because of my stronger start, which helped keep my overall victory point differential for the tournament itself not as bad.
Right.
But there was nothing I could do to get back into that game. I lost Aenor. Glorfindel was just out of position the entire game, and my lines
Yeah.
eventually crumbled underneath his onslaught. Very well played on his part. Tough matchup for me.
Yeah, the list does feel good. I don't know if we mentioned it, but he did just the couple heroes he was running. I think it was Witch King on horse,
Which,
and then he had double barrel white.
yeah,
So you have 3 casters already, and then he ran Aldrak, the Karn Doom
yes.
muscle man,
And
right?
if I want to actually touch back on that, really strong Aldrak. I'm gonna give him a big thumbs up off of this tournament. The Mighty Blow is great. When he gets the kill in the free hero combat the next turn,
Yeah,
it really gives him a lot of choice on what he could do with him. And he, like a low point hero like Arenath, smoked. I think like he doesn't have enough fate points, he doesn't have enough wounds to fight a hero like him if you lose. And
yeah,
that's basically what happened to Arenath. Aldrak almost was the MVP for him, like in a weird way. He just crushed my battle line. I almost forgot about him, and he was unbelievably good. The Bear Whites are annoying. I think everybody knows they're annoying. Witch King, and really, he had one good compel. Besides that, he wasn't as impactful overall. Just in our scenario case, I felt like the Bear Whites and Aldrak really were the ones putting the hurt on me.
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk about this list as well later. I fought Kyle on top table at the last game, and yeah, everything you said, I agree
Whoa,
with.
spoiler alert, Andrew. You didn't talk about your third game yet.
But anyway, 2 rounds. Andrew's 2-0, you're 1-1.
Yeah,
You're both on track for your goals, which is kind of nice. And you had a quick
yeah,
lunch break. And
very quick.
round 3, we have.
Really quick.
Oh, what did you guys think of that scenario, the Stake of Claim? Because it's a new one.
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
It's so different than I think anything I've played in this game before. I did like it. It makes you have to do a lot of tactical decisions on, do I try to grab these objectives early, or do I set myself up better to try and push through later? Like, it's a tough scenario for my force because I have a smaller set of numbers, and my hobbits, which, I mean, 35's I think all right, but when 10 of them are hobbits, it's really hard to try and capture objectives and hold them. So it makes you think with maybe your list building how you want to play the scenario. I think I might have tried to play it a bit differently if I was to do it again. But that's it. I think it's a fun scenario.
Yeah, I think it's the only scenario we have scoring, scoring throughout the scenario, right? Like, we don't, usually it's at the end of a game, people all run and hop on the objective and score it at the end, but this one is actually cool because you're throughout the game getting points, which is kind of rewarding for, I guess, more hoardy armies in a way, but it's cool to see that it's not just you're being shot at the objective until you're almost broken, then somebody hops on it to win, right?
Yeah.
But round 3, so Heirlooms of Ages Past, you're both going into it after lunch. Andrew, who'd you come up against? What were they playing? Did you think you were going to win?
Yeah, I got a rematch against Steve Stokes, which is always a really good game. Steve's a really good player, so it's nice, good challenge to go up against Steve, and he's a great opponent. He was playing the same list as, or very close to the same list as the Tista Minis event we talked about last time, which was Gimli, Gloin. He wrote a captain, he wrote a couple goats, and then just shield wall and a banner. of Erebor reclaimed. Or is it reclaimed?
No, Army of Erebor.
Army of Erebor, sorry.
Jeez, Andrew, get it right.
I know, there's only like a million different lists. They're all called the same thing.
The one with the +1 to wound sticks.
That's right. +1 to wound when you spear support. Yeah, so this game, I knew he didn't have a hero that could fight the Balrog, but Gimli and Gloin reroll wounds. So if he ever does win, it's gonna hurt. Still, it's gonna take like 2 rounds to kill the Balrog properly, but yeah, I knew as long as I was rolling my 6 on the Balrog fight, I was doing okay. It's Maelstrom deployment, and all my warbands except the Balrog ended up in a back corner with a big cliff right in the center of it. So I was like squished in, and the Balrog got to place anywhere. I put it right in the center of the board to run up to an objective. I had to march a couple times to get out of it, around one side of the mountain, and on the other side he deployed like right in the choke point with his shield wall. And I thought, oh, I'll send one warband over there with 12 goblins and a captain to get around there. And I got some decent rolls on getting up the mountain, rolling 5s and 6s to like, to run up and then over the mountain. And then I was able to jump down behind him and pull his spears off. And that really dropped the lethality of the Dwarves. And then eventually I got around and I threw some more goblins at it and on that flank. And there was one turn where I think I killed 4 or 5 Dwarves rolling 6s. I was very, 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 very lucky with that. And after that, it just collapsed. I was like a quarter or a third of his force that just went away. I got very lucky there. Looking for the heirlooms, we each dug up 3. So you got 3 points and I got 2 because I got the heirloom. Unfortunately, it was on the Balrog, or fortunately and unfortunately, because if you roll a 1, you're transfixed, which only happened 1 time, but I did roll 2 3 times. So I was sweating there a little bit. Yeah, my goblins were just running to catch up down the center of the board, other than that flank that they were slaughtering. And the Balrog were just playing a ring around the rosy around this house, running away from dwarves, trying to catch them and whip them in and hurl combat out of it, which happened 0 or 1 times. Eventually we did fight. He got Gimli and Gloin in on there. He won priority when I took a gamble and didn't like space properly because I wanted to slaughter a bunch of dwarves, or it was something like if I did win priority, I would have been able to pick 1 or something like that. Anyway, we had 3 fights. The first one he won, and he did something like 7 wounds to the Balrog in 1 round. The second fight I won, rended Gimli. I didn't kill him. And then that was leader wound points. And then the third fight, I won and I barged and I ran away. And yeah, the Balrog just hid the rest. But by that time, it was pretty well over. He was getting close to breaking me, which he would have broken me because the Balrog had less than 5 wounds or whatever.
Less than 5.
But yeah, he couldn't. There was too many goblins left, not enough time, and the Balrog had the heirloom. So I got the heirloom, and then I got leader wounding, and I broke him. So it was a 14-3 victory for me. So there's a bit of revenge from a 20-0 or 0-20, I guess, from the last tournament.
Yeah, Balrog plays into it a bit nicer than the Army of Vandegraaf.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Zach, your round 3 heirlooms game. What were you playing against?
Well, unlike Andrew, who faced a familiar person, I played a brand new opponent. His name was Robert. He super nice guy. Was playing the Usurpers of Edoras. And going into it, I would say once again, I was overconfident. The last tournament I went to, I played a Usurper's List, and it went extremely well for me. Him not being able to have anything that really combats my list. The last tournament I played in a Maelstrom. This was a Maelstrom. I was feeling pretty good. I think it took him 3 turns to get Freka on the board. His first turn, he got 1 warband on the board out
Holy
of
shit.
5. He had Freka, Wolf mounted, Lord Thorn, and a captain. So what's that? Four heroes, I guess. Then 4 warbands he had. And he got the 1 on, and then flopped the rolls on the rest of them for the first round. In the end, it ended up being like sort of I come on my board edge, he came on his board edge, just with the way the dice rolled. So not really felt like a maelstrom. With the early advantage, I was able to collect 5 of the 6 heirlooms. And unfortunately, when I picked up the heirloom, it was by a Hobbit Archer, which is maybe worse than the Balrog picking up an heirloom.
Definitely.
What was even worse for me is Aenor must charge an enemy hero if he is able. And by my poor placement, I ended up being just within range of having to charge Lord Thorn, which in itself is not a bad thing. It was the 20 models that were around him that would be used to swarm him, especially with also Wolf hanging out on the edges. So Glorfindel was there, and I thought, well, the dynamic duo would, yeah, you know what, they'll be fine. They'll chop through these guys like nothing. And the first round of combat, I won, and Glorfindel was in a combat with Wolf, and I did absolutely 0 wounds. Didn't even take any fate off him, and I had to use a couple might to win the fight. And Aenor killed Thorn. But the next turn, when I lost priority, lost the move off, I proceeded to lose both Glorfindel and Aenor in the same turn. So
Nice.
that was very extremely unfortunate.
That's half your army. Like points wise, that's like a ton.
It was not good. Panic ensues because at this point, Wolf goes from being a non-threat to an absolute terror to the rest of my list. And I have the heirloom, so I try to run away with it and my banner to try and just keep any sort of victory points alive. But hobbits are very bad at outrunning things.
Do you
And I
know you
probably
can?
would.
Do you know you can pass objects though?
You can't pass the
No,
heirloom.
you can't pass the heirloom.
Oh what? Oh, I
That's a
totally
can't
missed
pass
specific
that.
the heirloom.
thing.
Oh, that sucks.
So it really came down to the wire. He had General Targ chasing me down on foot, and he used a couple clever hero combats to slingshot himself that little bit extra towards me. In the I was broken the last turn. My hobbit with it fled. I had to move back with my banner to grab the heirloom, which put me within range of another slingshot by Thorn. Not Thorn, Targ. Oh no, yeah. So did I say Targ was in his list? It was 5
No.
heroes. Targ, Thorn, Wolf, Captain, and Freka. 5 heroes. And he still had I think it was nearly 50 models.
Yeah,
It
true.
was
That's a lot.
it was crazy. But Targ had, it was him and I don't know, like three other hillmen on one single elf with a shield. And I lost the fight. I was trapped. I thought this is over. Like, this game is done. And he didn't kill the elf. And then the game was over. I was quartered. I had, I think, like 3 models left on the board, and one of them was my banner, which was also holding the heirloom. So I got the 8 points for the heirloom, the 4 bonus points for searching the other objectives, and then the 1 point for my banner. So I pulled off a 13-7 win by like just the barest margin. I couldn't believe I held on. It was a
That's pretty
really
hilarious, though.
most probably undeserved win I had for sure.
That's what we call power gaming.
I don't know, but it was something. I still couldn't believe I lost both my heroes in 1 turn of combat.
But you know what that
How
did
did
for
you
you?
manage? How is that even possible? Like, your
'Cause
dice must have just been so bad.
I don't think I want a heroic move all day. Every move was like not winning, and I was like, well, this is not good.
But it
So
did for you at 2 wins, which was the goal.
I got to where I
We'll go
needed
on.
to be.
After round 3, you both hit your goals, actually, because you're on 2 wins, Zach, and Barzan, you're on 3.
3-0.
Yeah, it was 3-0.
And so you get launched to the top table to face Kyle and escort the wounded as the scenario. Did you think you were going to win when you looked at his army?
I didn't know what that list could do, so I went into it pretty cautious. I was just gonna play, not cautious, but I didn't know. I didn't know exactly what that list could do. Turns out that list is really, really good at shutting down big heroes, which was my entire list. Unfortunately, as Zach said, it pretty much covered it all. Escort the Wounded is a good scenario, I think. You can get points even if you're losing. So that's good. That game, yeah, I didn't realize just how strong the Barrow-Weights were. The 3+ paralyze. Like, you can just 1 dice paralyze.
Yeah,
or 2 dice
3+ now is
paralyze.
kind of broken or it feels really bad for barrow weights now. Like
3+ is so easy.
it's easy to
Yeah.
cast. It's like the most, I don't know.
It's
It's
so
just
such a
it's the
strong
biggest
spell.
shutdown spell in the game, right? Like you just can't do anything.
Yeah. Yeah, really, really strong. So yeah, so from the first turn he tried to do a paralyze and transfix, and I resisted everything. I think I even resisted a paralyze with a transfix. I just rolled my resistance to magic, and I got the 6 that I needed because he rolled 6. I'm like, I'm not going to throw dice at this. So I got that one, and then second turn. So my thought process was, which was wrong now, if I were to play that again. My thought process was march up the board. Well, that was right. Get my wounded, march up the board, and get them as close to his side of the board as possible, which was fine and good. And then my next thought was, if he's going to be slinging spells at me this whole time, and he has technically better warriors and better heroes, he's going to just start killing me unless the Balrog gets into combat. So I threw the Balrog into combat and just hoped I would get 1 turn to like either hero combat into Aldrak or a Barrow-Wight or a Witch King or something. But I couldn't resist everything, and I should have threw more will. I should have just threw tons of will, and just, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't really know.
almost just play it as if that's the last turn for the Balrog. Like try to get something out of him.
Yeah, which is what happened, which is what I should have done. But he didn't. He was paralyzed. So Aldrak went in, heroic struck, didn't have to worry about losing the fight. heroic strength, and then he did 10 wounds with all his dice and killed a Balrog immediately
Yeah,
on the second turn. And from there, I tried my best not to get salty, which I think I did a pretty good job about, because I know Kyle's a nice guy. He was also good about it too. He apologized, and we got through the game pretty quick after that.
He apologized for playing his army the way it's supposed to be played.
If it makes you show us how nice of a guy he is, he apologized to me multiple times too.
So we'll hear from him later, but basically he knew it was a pretty good army and felt bad about it.
Yeah, we started the game. We both said, "Oh, we're both playing cheese. We're both playing stuff that needs to get nerfed." And we're like, "Yep, that's why we're here." Just proof again that Depths of Moria is super easy to play. At least
he's playing a list that like we never see, right? Like I think this is probably the first time it's ever been played for our league.
I think in our statistics,
so.
That's the first.
And he is a guy that he's podiumed a couple times, but he's played different lists every tournament. Which
he
is
always
cool
plays something different.
Yeah.
Unlike us too.
Yeah, we always play the same thing. So there wasn't a whole lot I could really do. There was, I had goblins against orcs and the Witch King and Aldrak and stuff. But my early march got my objectives close to the center of the board. And I needed werewolves too. It was just like nothing I could do. But there were some. I almost got a couple of wins on the Witch King, but he kept rolling sixes. But if it wasn't for that, I had him trapped a couple of times with goblins and prowlers. So I might have been able to get leader kill, maybe. Realistically, probably like one turn. So that was something. I was doing something there. I had double shield goblins pulling the wounded, and they were just shielding their way across the map somehow. I had 2 objectives on his side of the board. I think that's 1. I don't know how I got 3 points, but I think that's worth 1 point each or something. And even after breaking, I had at least 1 stuck around on each objective to control it, because you have to be holding it to score the points. It can't just be on their side of the board, I believe.
Right. Yeah.
And at the end of the game, I had 2 goblins holding wounded on his side of the board, so I got 2 points. I don't know how I got the 3rd point, but I held him to a 12-3 victory for him, which was way better than I thought was going to happen after the Balrog died on turn 2. So 9-point difference. So, and if it wasn't for that, I think I only got. So I ended my day 3-1. And I got 2nd place, but only by like 2 VPs.
Oh, spoiler! You keep telling everybody what's going on.
Okay, well, you can cut it out. I don't know. Cut.
No, I'm not gonna cut it.
No, you just awkwardly saying
you can cut this part out now.
But yeah, you went 3-1.
I went 3-1.
You got 2nd place, which is great. You hit your goal at least, right?
3-1 was my goal, and I didn't expect to get 2nd place, but Depths of Moria is just that easy to play.
If it's that easy, why didn't you get first?
Because the host of the Witch King is really good at shutting down the Balrog and big heroes.
This is the first time you've picked up the Balrog in years?
Yeah, the last time I played the Balrog was once in the old edition, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. 3 or 4 years ago.
And you break it out and you just hit a 2nd place with it, which is...
Yeah. The list is too good. It needs to be nerfed. This is my PSA. Anyone can just go in and get 2nd place. It's so easy.
Also worth
Play your
noting,
army, everyone.
You were one of 3 Depths of Moria's players at the event?
Correct,
That's right.
Yeah, 20 players, and we had 3 Depths of Moria, which is, I think, expected at this point.
Yeah. Just slightly worse than 3 end players at a tournament.
Yeah, we had 3 Balrogs. We had the only other multiple factions that showed up multiple times was Army of Erebor twice, Moria twice, and the Black Gate twice. Everything else, the other, I don't know, 10-ish, 10 or 11 people all had different lists, which was nice to see.
Yep. I guess on
But
to
yeah,
my game then.
yeah. Andrew's done. He's 3-1. Zach, last round, escort the wounded. Who'd you play? Did you think you were going to win?
I played Adam Chamberlain. He brought the Black Gate. And at this point in the day, I wouldn't say I was confident. Been a really real tough day getting through at this point for me. And the Black Gate, he had a Mordor Troll Chieftain and a Mordor Troll, which are really good, I'd say, at escorting the wounded.
Yeah.
I'd like
Yeah,
to
'cause
think
these are heavy objects, right? So it takes 2 people to carry them, but
Yeah.
monsters get to carry them by
Burly.
themselves. And yeah, monsters and Burly get to just move normally with them.
So it was tough, and I'd like to think that I decided to grow a couple extra brain cells in this last round and actually try to think about where I positioned Aenor so he wouldn't have to charge that Mordor Troll Chieftain. I used the piece of terrain to kind of juke myself back and forth with it, and decided to let him bring his chieftain and troll to their sanctuary. I thought, you know what, if I let him take his 2 powerhouse units out of the combat, I'll be able to take control of the rest of the game. And as long as I can shut down his other couple orcs trying to carry his 3rd wounded to the sanctuary, I might be able to get all 3 of mine off. It worked maybe a little too well. Got to the point when I realized I was actually close to ending the game, with him scoring 2 of his secured and his trolls were trying to make their way back. But I'd killed too many of his orcs, so I did a lot of shielding and running away with the rest of my force as I tried to rush my wounded in. I had 2 elves carrying a body. They were able to successfully score. I had 2 Ministerials carrying a body. If the game went one more turn, they would have scored, but they were 1 turn short. And in my infinite wisdom, I had 2 Hobbit archers trying to carry another body. Which I'm sure you can all think of how successful that was. They were the closest ones to the sanctuary of choice, and they were probably still 2, maybe 3 turns from scoring. And Adam did a great job of choosing to not move and throw a stone with his chieftain into a combat because I had to put enough guys into combat to stop his guys from fleeing from the failed courage tests, because the mouse was dead, his other captain was dead, and so they were just gonna drop like flies.
Yeah.
So I was like, I need to kind of keep them engaged. And that combat happened, and he threw a stone. He didn't hit me. He hit his own guy, and he killed it. And that was the number to end the game. So at that point, I just, with all my other guys, decided to go on the kill for just one last round of combats. And I was able to pull it off, 13-8. Again, another close game. I think if it had been able to go a couple more turns, I would have got the extra points, which would have been nice for the overall tournament scoring. But just to be able to close out the win, I think, was a good enough feeling at the end of that day.
Yeah, and you went 3-1. Like, you ended up the same as Andrew.
Yeah.
Both 3-1. There ended up being 5 people go 3-1. But just based on, it was margin of victory as the first tiebreaker. So Andrew had the best margin of victory. So you got second, and you ended up at fifth, just because you had a loss, but then you had some small wins, right?
Yeah, I gave up a lot of VPs. I overall with my scoring myself, I did all right. I was over the 50% threshold of what max VPs to get in every game, but I was giving up a lot of VPs.
Yeah, right.
And obviously, my second game, I got skunked.
Yeah, which hurts. Yeah, for sure. But that ended up being a pretty good tournament for both of you. We have a second place finish and a fifth place at the at a 100-point event out of 20 people.
Yeah, I'm really happy with how I did. Again, like it was mostly the list, but I feel like I played well during my games, other than the last one. Even then, I think I still played okay given the circumstances. Yeah, I was pretty happy. I'm still quite happy with my performance.
I would say I'm happy. I definitely wish a couple of games probably had gone slightly better. The second game, I mean, I don't think there's anything I was going to be able to do in that. I think I was outclassed, outplayed by far. And the other ones, maybe
That
not
was the host of the
lose.
Witch King against Kyle,
Yeah,
right? That you're talking.
yeah. I just think I was dead in the water there. The other
That's rough.
games, losing the first and third game, losing Anor. This is not good. The third game, losing Anor and Glorfindel, really not good. I was proud of myself for remembering that I have to charge and making sure I was doing it, staying on top of myself all day, because I feel sometimes that's such an easy rule to forget. So I was trying to make myself actively be like, yes, do I have to? But now I got to think besides that, positioning so I can protect myself from it.
Yeah, yeah. It's the one downside of him, right? But there's workarounds. He doesn't have to move first, so you can block him with your own models and stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a tough one to play around. But looking at that tournament, basically, we know Andrew came second. We had Kyle in first with Host of the Witch King. He went 4-0. He only gave up 7 VPs throughout the whole day, so it was a pretty dominating performance from him. He scored 54, gave up 7. And then in third, we had Jonathan Young, who I think, Andrew, you played with his Men of the West list. He ended up going
Yeah,
3-1.
that's right.
3-1 as well, which he podiumed back in Barrie. I think he won the event. There's 2 Men of the West lists at that one. I think he won it, but I could be wrong. I apologize if it's somebody else that won.
Just keep hyping him up.
Yeah, we know he's podiumed at least twice with this Men of the West list that he's playing. And then a couple other ones that we haven't really seen before that ended up in the top 4, 5, 6 was Muster of Isengard got 4th, and then the Army of Linden got 6th, which is Gilgalad and on foot running around, which was cool to see.
Yeah, it was really cool to see that list, and I shout out to him. He won. Was Yanni? Was the guy he won the best painted? Absolutely stunning army and a great display board.
Yeah, he won Best Painted at Tista Minis the week before too.
I think, is it him? He's kind of run away with the hobbyist award for the year, I think.
I think there might be someone else as well, but I can't imagine they've won that many Best Painted in a row.
Yeah, he's won a lot, right? So that's cool to see.
Well deserved.
At,
sure.
at that tournament, how many of your 4 games were against fully painted and based armies?
Three out of 4.
Nice, that's a good
And
number.
the one that wasn't actually was against a guy who was his first tournament, and it was his I think he said his second game in 18 years.
Whew.
So very understandable.
That's an understandable one, right?
Yeah. But
and
the others were all painted, and I would also like to say that my third opponent, the Usurpers of Edorast, was also very well painted.
Nice. Andrew, how many painted armies did you go up against?
Well, Zach's toting some fake news right now because Kyle's army wasn't fully painted and based.
Okay,
It was close, but it was not fully.
two out of two were painted.
So I also had 2 out of 2. 2 fully painted, Steve Stokes and Jonathan Young,
Nice.
and the other 2 were not fully painted.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, that I ask because we're going into our next section, which is painting.
What a segue!
Yeah, I know, right? I actually thought of it when we were on like
Then
round
you-
3, and I had to type
you
it
said
out
it?
to remind myself to do that. Yeah, no, I was pretty proud of it. Painting wise, I guess I think Zach and I are on the same boat where at least I know, like, I paint for tournaments basically. Like when I want to play a list at a tournament or something, I'll pick a tournament, a points level. I'll paint all the models I need for that tournament. There is some recreational painting, but mainly it's to get it on the board to play with. Is that fair to say, Zach? You paint stuff because you want to play with it?
Yeah, I think it looks better when I'm pushing around on the table. I like seeing it all done, like being able to bring a completed army and be like, yeah, I've completed it. I've started from the beginning. Here it is, and it doesn't count unless it's based.
Yeah, that's part of painting a painted army, right? But Andrew, on the other hand, you'll spend like your Army of Edoras army. You've won a couple best painted for it. How can you estimate how long it took you to paint that and how many models it was?
I can't estimate a time. Like,
We're talking you've been working on it for months, right?
well, while I've been hobbying, yeah, but I've taken some time where it's been like months where I didn't do any painting, so it doesn't really count. But yeah, so months, maybe like 6 months, over 100 hours, maybe close to 200 hours, all in.
Yeah, a lot of time.
I think it's like 50 something models, just because there's a lot of dismounts. And I painted a ton of spears for old edition, where you had 100% throwing spear, and now you can't do that. So I'm not using a lot of new models, and then our old models. And then I painted up 12, like 4 of each of the new Warriors of Rohan because they're amazing models. And which I actually am using more than I thought, especially the Bowman. Anyway, easily over 100 hours, probably over 200 hours to paint that army.
Yeah, it's a lot of time. It's worth it when you see it, right? But it's you're pretty serious about your painting is what I'm getting at.
There's definitely better people in the league than me.
Well, you have the awards to show for it, dude. Credit where credit's due.
I have won some best painted, so I'm thankful for all your votes.
Yeah, when we have a paint night, I think I can finish probably 3 to 4 full models in the time you do to paint like some guy's spear.
Yeah, you guys crank out models really quick. It makes me kind of jealous. Like, oh yeah, I just like based all these guys or got base coats on the capes or on the armor, and I'm like, I got one guy base coated.
Should we mention your Macedonian pikeman?
Let's not talk about that, okay? This is a Middle Earth podcast, not Hail Caesar.
Okay.
But looking at painting, like how do you? I guess we're looking at tournaments. Like you each had two fully painted, 2 not fully painted. But like, what are ways that you guys stay motivated for painting? Not just painting for a tournament, but in general. Like, is there lulls to your hobby? Is there high points? Like, what are you guys doing on like a regular basis, kind of?
I think things definitely come in highs and lows for me, where I'll get like the painting buzz, and I'll just pick up and I'll start going through stuff, and I'll try and get as much done in that time as possible until I get a bit burnt out, and then it'll slow down, and then it's like, okay, well, now I got to pick up the paintbrush, try and get the motivation to really get through. What helps me be consistent with my painting is definitely our weekly paint nights. We've been doing it for what, 2 years now, maybe year and a half, 2 years.
Close to 2 years.
2 years
now.
consistently, at least.
Consistently, yeah, because we've been probably doing on and off paint nights for longer than that, but we've been doing a really good job. I think also of holding each other accountable for logging on, setting up, and doing some painting every night for about 1 to 2 hours, and that helps.
Yeah, definitely.
Helps me going, helps keep me active in the painting. And then, it also keeps you distracted because you're not just sitting there painting, you're talking with your buddies, you're talking about different things. It doesn't even have to be this hobby related.
Yeah. People definitely make the painting easier, right? Like it motivates you just because it's fun to show people what you've done too when you get a finished product, right?
Yeah. The other thing I've done is I started keeping a tally of how many models I've painted in a year. So I started this last year. I can't remember what the actual number is. I don't have the sheet with me right now, but I have that. Now I got a sheet beside it with my active tally of what I painted this year. And the goal is to hopefully paint more than I did the previous.
Right.
And I think for myself personally, that's just like a little goal to help myself as well as everything else.
Yeah, that's a cool way to do it. I know for me, like to stay motivated, I find that switching it up helps a ton. So I'll paint like some Lord of the Rings minis, and then I'll have a board of terrain that I need to get painted up, and I'll take a break after. Like trying to paint 40 Minas Tirith warriors gets pretty boring after a while, right? So paint a couple, take a break, paint a house or some walls or something like that. And then even other game systems. I know I got some Greek myth minis and some MCP stuff, so it's fun to kind of hop in between stuff. It kind of keeps the painting fresh, and that way I find if I just try to plow through a whole army, I always get kind of burnt out and don't finish it.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, you guys, I agree with everything you guys said for sure. Switching it up, paint nights is really good because it guarantees you at least an hour or two of painting a week. For me, yeah, I definitely like hobby and highs and lows. Like sometimes I won't paint for a couple months. I find that going to tournaments helps me get motivated too. If you have the mindset of you don't want to play with unpainted midis because it is way worse, unarguably. You push yourself to be like, okay, well, I have to paint because I want to show up with as much of a fully painted army as I can. So that's good motivation, going to tournaments and pushing yourself, making time for it. Put aside that, I know this is the last time, but like, you don't like, what's watching a show going to do for you? Like nothing. It's just brain dead time. Like put your time and effort into something valuable, like a hobby, like an artistic hobby, and into something you're going to have for the rest of your life. I feel like there's a lot of value there, and it's much easier to motivate yourself when you look at it like that. Another way to stay motivated, and can be used for anything, is just do something, even if it's like literally 2 minutes to put a base coat on some guy's shirt. Just do it, and then walk away from it. At least you did something, and then you'll realize that painting's actually fun, and you'll go back to it. You're like, okay, well, I want to get all their shirts done now. And then you do that. Yeah, just like doing anything, no matter how insignificant it seems. Base coat, or like put rocks on one guy's base. That's better than not doing anything. And it helps you get out of the lull as well. I know when I'm like working back into the hobby, if I've been taking like a couple months break, there have been tournaments or whatever, you guys have been busy, I'll just like, pick out and do one little thing. And then the next day I'll feel like much more motivated and back into the swing of painting. That's my rant.
That's fair. That's fair enough. Now, if we're looking at Lord of the Rings specifically, and specifically like if people are wanting to go to tournaments and stuff like that and bring I guess a tournament ready army, like what do we think is, I guess, what do we think is a requirement for a tournament ready army to be fully painted, fully based? And then secondly, let's start with the quickest and easiest way to get there. So what's the
For
requirement?
me, the requirement for me is fully based for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So rocks or grass on your base, even if it's just like some glue and you've thrown some flock on there, just something. And like 3 colors basically on the mini. Like try and get 3 colors on there. It
Yeah,
doesn't have to be pretty.
I think 3 colors is very doable,
Yeah, two is just not enough.
and not 3 rattle can colors.
No,
No.
not 3 airbrushed
We've
passes.
seen that before.
It
That
looks
might be
bad.
worse.
You know what? It is worse. You're right. It is worse. No, 3 painted in the lines as best as you can colors.
I think the most bad I felt for someone playing a not fully painted army was 2018 when we went to Articon and Zach drew that the pink Radagast. That guy was just all rattle cans, wasn't he? He was just spraying all his minis like pink, red, and blue or something.
I think someone was like orange, like Nori was orange or something too. It was very confusing to see.
It was hilarious to look at the table at the time, but I felt
I
bad
don't
for you.
remember that.
I wish I didn't remember that.
But yeah, I guess the standard for a while was three color minimum, something on your base, and basing is part of a fully painted army, I think. But
For sure.
what's the quickest way? What's the easiest way for somebody if they have 40 goblins at home or a bunch of wildmen? Like, how do we get a painted army?
I definitely think the slap chop method has been very helpful for me.
Yeah, since you turned me on to it, it's changed my painting a ton. That's all I do now.
Yeah, like there's certain things that I still don't slap chop just because I think it looks better if you can do it the other way. But there's also like cloaks. A lot of time I find can do a good job with it. Depends on the model, but if you're looking for like a quick and easy way to try and get some good looks to your army, the slap chop method really does a good job.
Mm-hmm. If you're not familiar
Quick
with
and
slap
dirty.
chop, YouTube it, but it's basically you're priming stuff black, dry brush gray, dry brush a bit of white on top, and then when you put a contrast paint on it, it gives it like a lot of depth. Is that correct?
That's correct, and how I understood it.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I use it a ton now. Ever since you showed it to me, Zach, that's almost the only way that I paint now.
Yeah, it helps speed up a lot of the process because you could batch dry brush like a bunch of models at once. Like, yeah, I might spend one of our paint nights like grabbing 5 models and be like, okay, I'm going to dry brush them gray, and then I'm going to let them sit them dry for a second. Then I'll dry brush them white, and then when it comes to the next night, next week when we sit down and paint again, well, hey, now I'm gonna be able to throw on some other paints and speed it up. And it's just it doesn't look bad. It looks good. It gives a little bit extra depth to the miniatures. Dirty, grittier. I think it does a good job of just getting it over. It's not gonna do the job like Andrew's gonna sit there and painstakingly draw every single line on his model. But if you're gonna stand at the table, look at the army against you, you're gonna say, that looks pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, and if the goal is just to be painted for a tournament, then it's a pretty good way to get there, right?
Yeah, slap chop has definitely like revolutionized painting, and the stuff contrast paints only came out a couple years ago, and then the method only came out a little while after that, and it's truly such a fast way to get like a GW calls it like a battle ready or battle force ready or something like that, battle ready tier, which is like tabletop tier, just like when you're looking at it 3-4 feet away, it looks great. Which is all anyone can ask for.
Yeah,
it's really, really quick way to get a ton of stuff done and easy, so easy.
The catch with it is you do have to own contrast paints though, like, and they're what are they now? They're $9.50 a bottle or $10 basically.
Yeah, well, the other paints are what, like $5, so it's almost double the cost of a regular paint pot.
Yeah, I'd say it's worth it. But if you're looking at an army, a warrior Minas Tirith army, like you only need 3 or 4 colors, right? So that's $30-$40 and some brushes off Amazon for cheap. Like,
But at
you
the same
can,
time, a Minas Tirith army might not be great because there's a lot of armor. And the slop chop, I don't know. I don't think it works as good with the armor.
yeah, maybe you just don't have a good armor contrast paint.
Maybe I don't. Maybe that's the trick.
Because I have the Army Painter speed paints, and they have the silver, gold, and bronze. And I actually really like how they turn out.
Oh, does it?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Maybe I got to look into that then.
yeah, it got better results than the GW ones for me.
Okay. I did not know that. Now I might have to look into it.
Outside of contrast paint and slab chop, though, we're basically looking at like just get your base coats on to get to a tournament. Is that a fair thing to say? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, get your base coats done. You know, if it's not that much more work to throw on a wash.
yeah, and then it's basically
Get your
ready
base.
to go.
Yeah,
Washes do wonders.
Yeah, 100%.
that's for sure.
And then, what's a quick and easy way to base something? What's your go-to if you had like let's say you had an army that wasn't based yet and you had a tournament in 2 days. How do you do it?
Cry.
I think there's 2 valid ways to do it. I mean, glue cry, is that what you said?
That's what I said.
Yeah, have a cry, have a lie down, cup of tea, and then sit down and get to work. Doing the typical like glue and then drop it in sand is quick. The GW texture paints are also really good, and I think maybe just a little bit slower, but if you don't want to, you don't have to paint the sand after, so they're faster in that regard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the sand is cool because you can just basically paint it whatever color, dry brush maybe on the top of it, but it's a quick way to get it done, right?
Yeah.
And that now with how like common 3D printers are, if you know somebody with a 3D printer, they can whip up. Like I know the Printing Goes Ever On has a free base set where there's 5 different themes like desert, city, ruins, and
Oh, that's
nature.
cool.
And so like for Jess's army, I painted like all the Rohan in like nature bases, and it's pretty quick to paint up. It's not a lot of filament or anything. And all my Gondor stuff, I painted like city bases for them, and then it's just prime them black and dry brush some white on the stone, right? Like it's pretty quick. So knowing somebody with a 3D printer definitely helps.
Yeah, hey, let's just all know somebody with a 3D printer and it'll help your painting job so much easier.
I think you'd be surprised how many people own a 3D printer. I feel like everybody's got to know somebody with a 3D printer now.
Or know someone who knows someone anyway.
Yeah. Even in like, I guess for our local guys like in Ontario, I'm sure if posting in our trade group and stuff, looking for bases to be printed is, I know of at least 2 or 3 guys that do like printing for people and ship it out. So it's an option.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, really like that's a quick and easy way to get there. Like obviously the more time you want to spend on it, the more you can get down that road, right? And towards like an Andrew level of painter, right? Going into more detail. I don't know. Like for most of my armies, I'm at like between like a 5 to 10 paint pots per army. Andrew, what do you kind of run through? Like for your Rohan, like how many different paints are you putting on one model?
First of all, I don't like that I'm the tier for the good painted army. Okay, I don't want to be the go-to for that.
Well, out of the 3 of us, it's you.
Okay, well, out of the 3 of us,
Have you ever won a best painted army?
Yes, by default.
Yes. Did you paint that model yourself?
Yeah, no, I won best painted evil army at an OHA tournament like 6 or 7 years ago because I was the only evil army at the tournament.
Okay.
So win by
So
default.
that doesn't count. I have never won a best painted army. Andrew, how many have you ever won a best painted army?
I've won a couple this year.
Who has an
couple
Instagram
this year.
account? Who has an Instagram account where they only post pictures of painted models?
Okay, anyway, what was your question?
I
How
forget.
many
I
paints
forget
do I-
now, but you riled us up.
How many
How many
paints do I
paints
use?
do you use per model? How many different
Yeah.
colors?
Yeah, I counted for like a regular Rohan infantry. I had 25 paints, 25 colors.
I was not
I,
expecting that number.
I don't even know how you get that.
It gets to be a lot. Like I have all these paints laid here on the side of my desk. Because just for like what I have for what I was painting, and like there's so many, and I went through them. I'm like, oh yeah, I use all these. It's a lot of like for highlights though, right? Like 2-3 layer highlights.
Yeah, it still feels like a lot.
That's why
You
it
gotta get
takes
those colors in.
months and months to paint the army, right?
Yeah, but it looks pretty good after. I'm happy. Generally happy with how they turn out.
I would hope so. With that much effort.
It's you too can paint as well as an Andrew level in giant air quotes. Just put more time into it, I guess. Anyone can do it. I'm not super like artistically talented.
Yeah, it's patience too, a lot of it. But
willing to take the
patience,
time.
big one.
How would you describe? Did you watch lots of videos on how to paint? Did you just trial and error? How would you say you got to the point where you did?
I mean, yeah, like you watch some stuff online or like, oh, how do you achieve like this effect? You know, or like you see a model and you watch someone paint it. But mostly it's just like practice and learning and like, okay, I did like this, and I liked how that turned out. So I'm gonna try it like in a different color. I'm gonna try like doing more layers or, getting the right like wetness, water to paint ratio on your brush, stuff like that.
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah, just it's kind of a feel after a while. Like I this might be like heresy, but I pull paint straight out of the pot. Like I just wet my brush and then I'll put my brush into the pot and pull it what I want. I don't, and then like sometimes I'll rub some
you
on.
go right from pot to model.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, that's what I
Yeah.
do.
Wait, what?
yeah. We know that's what you do, but you do it wrong.
Oh, come on.
I've never heard of anybody doing this, and now that only two guys I'm talking to are doing this right out of the pot. That seems wild to me. I always pull it out of the pot, put it on the plate, put some water on my brush, mix it all up, and then it's the wrong ratio, and I don't care, so I just keep painting with it.
I don't
Yeah,
even know what
exactly.
people mean by ratio.
You're not even putting water in your paint, are you?
I might dip my wet brush into some water. I don't know.
That's painful. Yeah. Do note that there's two ways to take paint directly out of the pot. I'm not splotching on thick paint onto my minis. Like I use a lot of like the rim, like the inside rim of the pot, the GW pots, to like pull out exactly what I need and then
Like
wipe
to
it off
rub
in the pot.
down, like so you don't have a glove. Yeah, I do that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Not a complete
But like
heathen.
I'll have a probably more wet brush than you do. Like I go in with pretty wet brush and then
Do you
pull out
guys
what I
not
want.
have like a plate that is just all the different colors of paint that you use? Am I the?
No.
I didn't realize I'm the weird one. I just have this big old dirty plate that's just layers and layers of paint every time I pull it out of a pot.
Yeah, that's like the proper way to do it. And like if you watch anything online, that's what they'll tell you to do. Right? Like get your paint out of the pot, put some water in it, and then like pick it up off your plate. I have like a little like piece of cardstock or like paper towel that I'll rub some paint off sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, most of the time it's right out of the pot onto the mini.
I did not know that. But back to the topic, basically, if you're looking to get painting done, a great way is with friends, right?
Yeah.
Definitely.
If you're looking to
Yeah.
get tournament ready, we're looking at slap chop or different things like that. But mainly, I think the main problem is motivation for a lot of people, right?
For sure. It's finding the time, finding the will to do it.
Tournaments are a great excuse to force yourself to get some painting in. Use tournaments as an excuse to paint. Maybe you don't want to do the whole army. Say you're going to paint a third of it or half of it.
Yeah, set yourself minor
Good motivate.
goals.
Yeah.
You don't have to like push yourself and say I got to paint 50 models in a month. You got to be reasonable as well. You got to say, "Hey, let's try and get a couple models done this week. I got a tournament in 2 months. What's something reasonable I can do?" and come up with a number. Maybe I won't get the whole 100%, but I'm going to keep playing this tournament all year. So, hey, maybe I'll get a quarter of it done. The next event I go to after that, maybe I'll get halfway to 3/4 of the way done. And by the end of the year, bam, full army painted that you can now bring to events.
Yeah, the nice thing is that, like, I've been in, like I said last time, I've been in this league for way longer than I thought. It's been over a decade of going to tournaments. And, like, I have so many Lord of the Rings armies just painted. I have, like, 4 or 5 armies fully painted now. And I just pulled out a fully painted Balrog and 53 goblins out of my closet. And, like, I have that forever now.
Yeah, it's cool to have that option now whenever a tournament pops up. It's like, oh, let me look at my backlog or of everything that I've painted, right? And then you get to pick and choose.
I think I go the opposite because over the time, and I know maybe to a degree, a lot of people's issue is, oh, maybe my army doesn't look as good. But the more you do it, the better it looks. And I got a few painted armies that I have a hard time bringing now because I look and go, man, this is awful. At least what I'm putting out now looks better, so I kind of stick with what's fresh because it's.
Yeah.
I put in practice. I've started to learn different things to help make it look better overall.
It's cool to see the progress, right?
Yeah, that's you're saying it as like a negative, but it is, and it kind of is because you're not happy with it, but that's proof that you've progressed, right? It's cool to see that you've actually, like, oh, I'm better than this now. I'm better than I was so many months or years ago.
I'm not putting globs of paint on top of my model.
Yeah, and that feels good for sure. Like getting better at something that you like, or well, hopefully you like to do it. So getting better at something is always fun.
Yeah.
That's fair. I think that covers it for paint. I don't know. Do you guys have anything to add to people trying to get armies painted up?
No.
Any hobby stuff?
I think
that was like all my tips, I think, that I had.
Awesome. Well, I think next we'll bring Kyle on and we're gonna look at his tournament, how he built his lists, kind of what his thoughts were running into the 100-point event, if he was looking to try to win it or if he just tripped and fell into it. And yeah, we'll get to hear about how he beat both of you and just wipe the floor with our podcast, which is just bringing shame to all of us.
Should just sign him over the rights now.
No, but here's Kyle. We hope you enjoy. Here we go, guys. All right, tonight we have with us Kyle Vandegraaf. He's the most recent OSBGL 100-point winner, the only 100-point winner of the new edition. Basically, I guess to start, Kyle, we'll go over your tournament and stuff, but can you walk us through kind of your hobby, how you got into MESBG to start, but also kind of what your local community looks like?
Well, thanks, Will. First, I want to say thanks to the guys for having me on. They made it sound like it was a big help from me to come on, but I always appreciate being given a chance to talk about the hobby we all love and being able to support the community in this way. I picked up MESBG just before the lockdown, something like 6 years ago, I guess. It would have been like just before. And what really got me into it was I fell in love with the Urukai models. They were like old and kind of grungy, just how all of the older Lord of the Rings sculpts are. But I was just like, scouts, they run through the woods and they look really mean, and it's sold me on it completely. I love the game mechanics. I love the winner takes all, loser backs away an inch. You know, just how everything worked. I was a huge fan of it. So it was the in the way mechanics, everything. So I was just getting back after a stint of not doing much in the way of wargaming, and I was like, this is perfect. This is what I'll play. It's great. And then I from that point on, I fell in love with the community. The community is great for the game, especially, funnily enough, the competitive community, which I I would consider myself, I guess, a competitive player. A lot of when you have a league, I guess everybody's kind of a competitive player
Yeah.
fundamentally. But the community, despite being competitive and keeping track of all the stats and talking all the strategy and having pointed events and all of that is great and has a lot of people who care a lot about the general health of the game and making sure to carry it on, like you guys who struggle through lots of issues pre-podcast to have everybody on so we can talk about what we love about the game. And yeah, that's me as far as MESBG goes.
Nice.
So
And locally, do you have like a? And yes, there was a lot of difficulty getting this episode up and running for you, but I apologize. Do you have a local group of guys or a couple friends that play?
So funnily enough, a lot of for those who, I guess, I come from, or my local store is Torchlight Games and Hobbies in Burlington, Ontario. We do have a few local players, but we don't really have like a local regular scene. We get regular good turnouts in the upper teens into the 20s if on a good day for events, which is pretty good, but we don't have a lot of regular games that occur. I've been trying to change that. I come out and play with players when they look for games, but no, not really. We're
Yeah.
a lot of the scene is a lot more east toward you guys, funnily enough. The Oshawa and out to Lindsay. So
Yeah, it's interesting. There seems to be a lot of like a tournament scene where people travel to tournaments in that area, but I haven't heard of a ton of like local game nights or anything like that, right?
yeah, like I don't know that there's any regular scene. I know there might be one a bit north of us, but other than that, I've heard of leagues, but I don't know of any regular stores that have regular game nights for MESBG. But
Yeah. Cool. Well, looking at the reason you're here, I guess, this tournament was at Torchlight, right? 725 points. And I've noticed a trend that you are playing different armies almost all the time. We look back at kind of your long shanks. It was like, I've seen a Birder's Horde. I've seen a Last Alliance. I've seen, I played your Shadows of Agmar with Gullivar at one of the tournaments, right? Like, you seem to play something different every time. Is that pretty typical? You don't want to stick with one thing, a little variety?
I just want to say you played my Shadows of Angmar and killed me outright, by the way, for the viewers at home.
I wasn't going to bring that up.
Don't worry, I'll do it for you. In the statute of being as honest as possible, winning tournaments and all, he did murder me. But that aside, yeah, I've played a lot of war games, and sort of a trend that seems to follow me around in all of them is I bounce around a lot from faction to faction. There's just sort of this thing that I don't really play armies, I play lists that do things that I like that they do.
Right.
Which is, I think, kind of a way to look at building armies competitively for games, which we'll talk about in a bit. But I like to have a little play rhythm, and then once I've exhausted my interest in that, I kind of moved to other things. And having played the game for several years and having like almost every evil faction makes that pretty easy. So yeah, I don't tend to play the same thing twice in a row if I can avoid it.
Yeah.
Pretty easier too, and a lot of evil armies have orcs, and so all you got to do is implement different heroes, and your base of your army is already there.
Oh yeah, if you own 2 boxes of Mortar Orcs, you can play like 17 different armies. It's pretty great.
Speaking of armies, let's look at what you played this tournament. What was it? And can you kind of walk us through a bit of the list build that you had?
Okay, so for the GBHL 100 or GBHL OSBGL 100, I played Host of the Witch King, which is pretty funny because something I've kind of noticed with a lot of the Angmar PDF armies that came over is all of the good ones got all the hubbub, and all of the evil ones were summarily ignored when it started. People looked at Shadows and were like, Gullivar, 6 inches, bad. Host of the Witch King was kind of uninspired, and then like the other ones people treated as a joke. But like, and then you have on the other side of the fence, you have like Fornost and all that. So people were super excited about that. But I looked at Host, and I thought Host was pretty good. The army rules are kind of uninspired, but the the possession of like barrel whites and how much it feels like old Angmar kind of without a bunch of the cheesier tools, essentially.
For sure.
So I was interested in that. I've always been a big Witch King fan, so I was like, okay, well, we'll try this out. I'd never played the list before, and obviously it went decently well. But yeah, so in particular for this tournament, the list building I went with, I ran 4 war bands. It was Witch King on horse with Morgul Blade, Aldrak, which is the Karn Doom big bad beefy guy,
The
and
muscle
then
man. Yep.
2 barrel whites. The barrel whites are kind of self-explanatory. They're nonsense. They were nonsense. They continue to be nonsense. They disincentivize you doing literally anything with a hero that costs more than 70 points.
Yeah.
They have a giant bubble, as I'm sure Andrew will be super happy to tell you about later, of just the no fun zone where you can't get to them, but boy howdy can they bad touch you through their own lines. It's ridiculous. The Witch King got a pretty big glow up in between editions, going to like having 3 attacks at all times, essentially.
Yeah.
And being fight 6. And in the Witch King army being fight 7 against men, which sounds really specific, but when 80% of the models in the game are men, that's obviously blown up. But when about half the models in the game have the men keyword, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
And you just weigh your opponent down with magic. Yeah, the list is 40-something warriors. It's 90% orcs, a few Deadmar specters to make your opponent worry about you pulling everybody around, and then 3 werewolves. Not because I think they're incredibly competitive, because I love werewolves.
Yeah.
I think they're one of the coolest profiles in the game. And yeah. So
That's a handy tool to have, though. Having a 2 attack, fight 5, 10-inch move running around the
they
board.
are also quite good, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like them a lot.
the way I categorize it, it's a Rivendell Knight that like doesn't lose the 2 attacks when it's charged and causes terror natively, and then there's a bunch of other stuff on top of that. But
Yeah.
folds to cavalry at incredible speeds.
It's a nice, yeah. It's a nice tool to have, though, for sure. So getting into the we went through Zach and Andrew's tournament, so we heard a little bit about a couple of your games already. But looking at your first round of To the Death, do you remember who you played and what it was you faced?
So the gentleman I played in the first round, he's nice as can be. Unfortunately, I can't remember his name. So if you're looking at the Longshanks, you can give him the credit he deserves.
Let me see if I can find this. I thought you were about to say he was as nice as can be, but you're not, and that's why you beat him.
That is also true. You can read the list and find that out for yourself.
But To the Death went pretty well for you, eh?
Yes. So he played Army of Erebor. I believe that's what it's called. It's the newer list with like Old Dane, Young Thorin, and Gloin and Gimli and all the dwarves after
Yeah, correct. Yeah, the plus one to wound spears. Yeah.
that one. Yeah.
And his name was Ben Speak.
Ben. Yeah. Sorry, Ben. If you listen to this, I apologize. So he actually, that was an interesting game. Aldrak kind of carried me through that game, largely speaking. We had like a conventional line clash, and I spent all of Aldrak's might to kill his banner, but which ended up being the thing that won it for me, because being that outnumbered is not great. But he had, which dwarf is it? It's Biffer or Bofer?
I think he had Boffer in his list.
The anti-magic dwarf. They have an anti-magic, anti-terror, anti-rules dwarf.
Yeah.
In that
Boffer
army.
the dwarf.
And oh my god, we were talking about it after the game. That dwarf is crazy. For those of you who don't know at home, there's a dwarf character. I don't think he's that expensive. I think he's like 80 points?
65.
Yeah. 65 point D8 dwarf who makes all other dwarf heroes, Erebor heroes or dwarf heroes? Erebor heroes.
Airborne.
Within 3 of him, just immune to enemy special rules that would affect them on a 3-up every time it would affect them. That includes all magic spells, terror, like everything, and it's absolutely egregious. Like he was just
That sounds
shedding
really
magic, and yeah, it's nuts. Like,
And that's a 3-up to just cancel a spell, but then they also, if you fail that, they get a chance to resist still, right?
so they have to resist first,
Oh,
which is the spooky kind of detail when it comes to being hit with magic as bad as Paralyze is.
Yeah.
Do I spend will points? Do I bank on a 3-up?
that's
But
pretty crazy. Yeah.
it's really good. Like I couldn't do anything to those heroes. I paralyzed Dane once, and he immediately stood up, and I was like, okay, well that's that, I guess. But
That's a good hero to definitely back him up with to keep the paralyzed and the enemy rules away. Because like this buffer himself, it's like, yeah, I mean, if he gets paralyzed, it's probably not a big deal, but it's who he protects with the special rule.
yeah, like he himself isn't the most impressive. I think he's like 2 attacks with like a force 2-handed weapon. So after the 2-handed buffs, like it's not terrible, but it's not. You wouldn't rely on him. You wouldn't call him like a smash hero. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Like,
yeah, like Aldrak, 100%. Aldrak is a menace. But yeah, like it was a good game. It was, I think, the closest of my games, if I recall correctly.
You won 10-4 in that round.
Yeah, we had a great game. He just kind of got stuck. He built his line surrounding like a forest, and unfortunately, dwarves already have short legs, and roots are tall in a forest. So he was moving very slowly through the forest, and my ghosts were just kind of like, ooh, like going like either way and around him, and it led to it being kind of rough. I could kind of do what I wanted, and he was kind of trying to play catch up for most of it. So
Yeah. That's understandable. All right. Well, first round 10-4 is a very decent win. Second round, you run into one of our own. You run into Zach at Stake of Claim, I believe. He brought his Battle of Fornos, which we heard about earlier in the episode, but it was a 12-0. Do you want to walk us through kind of what you saw in that game, or kind of your thoughts throughout it? Like,
so
was it when you walked up? Did you think, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna beat this"?
when I walked up, I was like, if anyone's gonna give me trouble, it's gonna be this nonsense. I hate Fornos. It's
Nice.
like, I despise Fornos. That being said, Fornos sort of was the proving case behind the concept I made for the list in a way. So, on the surface of it, if I played a guy playing, I know this is kind of a side tangent from Stake of Claim, but if I played a guy playing scouts, like Ugluk scouts, or a faction where the warriors are the main backbone of the army, I likely would have been outright slaughtered. Because my entire list point was a hyper skew toward making it very, very annoying for big hero lists to do anything with the big heroes.
Yeah, which we
And
see a lot of
so-
right now, right? You see a lot of big heroes and monsters running around.
Oh, it's everywhere. That's the flavor, like Eagles and Fornost, even to like Reclamation with Boromir and Faramir, right? Like,
Yeah, a lot
This
of
is
those
everywhere.
lists. If you shut down the big guy, then the list kind of crumbles, right?
yeah, because then the Aldrak and the Witch King just play in the sandbox and everybody dies. But the Fornos was the proving sort of case for that, where I think it was the second turn. So for those who haven't played Stake of Claim, first of all, it's an excellent mission. It plays out really interestingly. It makes you take board space. You cannot sit back. If you sit back, no matter how much you kill your opponent, you'll get into an impossible to get out of like divot on points, and you will never catch up. So you have to come up. It makes people fight. It's one of my favorite like missions in the new match play guide. And I think the top of the second turn, Zach went one way with Glorfindel, and went up the middle with Aerner, I think is his name, the human guy that has the same name that sounds like all the other human guys.
Yeah.
And I like ran as far as I could with the Witch King and compelled Glorfindel to the back of the board edge.
Yes.
And as you can tell by Zach's response, that was mean, and and worked out well for me. So
Oh.
it was just kind of like a proof of concept. Eventually, Erner would end up dying to being paralyzed and just beaten to death by way too many dudes.
And Aldrak.
And yeah, and Aldrak just bonking him on the head with the mace of pure anger. But yeah, so we ended up having a traditional line clash in the middle with sort of pockets on either side on the two side objectives. And I ended up winning the middle by paralyzing and killing Erner and just kind of spreading and eating everybody else.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's sort of the way it went. Which, as you'll find out, paralyzing the big guy, killing him, and then spreading out is a common theme
Yeah.
in my games.
In
So
your games.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I know two of the guys that it happened to. So, um, but that was a good one for you. 12-0. Unfortunate for Zach, but he recovered for the rest of the tournament, luckily. But going into round 3, I guess you rolled up against Linden, which I've never seen played, at least. And I believe it was Jan. I don't know his last name actually. But you rolled up against Gilgalad, another big hero centerpiece list. Like, when you see that and Heirlooms of Ages Past, do you feel confident going into that, or is Heirlooms still kind of a toss-up scenario?
So, an important nuance of Heirlooms, I was worried at first because I was like, no, like Glorfindel, Gilgalad, mounted elves, they pick stuff up on horses. That's a nightmare. And then you read the mission and it says only infantry models can turn over the heirloom objectives. And I was like, oh, okay, well that makes that like a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. Because I was very worried about just being outpaced. Because another thing with the list that I made is it's not fast.
Yeah.
Only the werewolves are really fast, and they can't pick up objectives. So I was worried I was going to be outpaced by him. Heirlooms is Maelstrom, so I was also worried about the... Maelstrom is terrifying because the biggest weakness of that list is you don't have any might on barrow whites. So they go where they go, period. Which led to one of them being killed by Glorfindel unceremoniously. Just murdered him in a back corner. But the game ended up being pretty good. I ended up uncovering the heirloom and also uncovering 4 of the other 5 heirloom tokens at that. So Yanni was really worried. He was chasing me down with Glorfindel to try to kill the guy with the heirloom who kept running away from him. But it ended up just being I won too many prow rolls and got off too many charges into Glorfindel with like stupid orcs. That I got the Deadmarsh Spectre who picked up the objective back to my ball of guys. And then everybody got magicked. Eventually I got a paralyze off after, by the way, I have to mention this for his sake. Like 3 or 4 consecutive lost duel rolls with a trapped Witch King by Gilgalad. I think it was 3. And he was just like, I can't get anything.
Oh no.
Yeah. And then eventually Gilgalad got paralyzed and eaten by werewolves. But yeah, it was a good game. The score does not do true justice to how close that game was. If I had lost any of like the 2 or 3 priors on the run away from Glorfindel, he picks up that objective and goes to a corner, and it just ends immediately for me.
Yeah.
So I got very lucky with handling that mission in particular.
And you get a lot of points at the end of the game for holding the heirloom. It's like a big swing depending on the rest. And as you said, you picked up the 4 others, so that's 12 points right there. You're already over 50% of the score.
Yeah, it was kind of brutal that I ended up so much more spread out than him because I had so many more models. Linden is incredibly expensive to play. That I turned over like all of the heirloom, like literally all 6 of the heirloom markers I picked up. So it was just like having 5 free points from decoys. It was like, oh, that's not good. But
Yeah, 100%.
he still almost got me. He was so close. It was bad.
Oh, that's good. It ended up being 20-0, which is a big spread. Nice one for you. And then you go into round 4, top table against our own Andrew Barbazan with the Balrog and Escort the Wounded. Did you look at that and you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to kill the Balrog? turn 2, no worries.
I was incredibly worried he was just gonna walk around me with the wounded guys with way too many goblins, and I wouldn't be able to do anything. And that's probably what should have happened. But instead, what happened was something incredibly brutal. I'm sure you guys have heard. But for
we talked about it.
Oh, yeah. I was telling everybody I could, Andrew. Sorry, buddy, but
No, it's all good. It was shocking.
I've never seen that before. For those of you at home, the hero of the day is Aldrak. He has something that comes after that. He's on paper the least impressive looking hero possible. Is like 120 points for like a guy with strength 5 and like fight 6. No really cool duel affecting skills or anything. But he has one thing on him which is just magic to behold in a list where you can stop your opponents from being able to fight back, and it's Mighty Blow it's called?
Yeah.
Which is for each failed fate you have against a wound caused by Aldrak, you take 2 wounds. So
yeah, and that is different than the special rule that a lot of Urukai have,
Yes.
where you deal 2 wounds on a wound roll of 6.
yes,
This
the
is
like
just
Mordor
always
thing.
2 wounds.
Yeah. So it's like I think him and like Thraden are like the only models left with that rule. And against the Balrog, a model with no fate but a lot of wounds, it proved brutal. We sort of started out with like just having a conversation about how the lists we brought were nonsense and how this game was going to be insane, and we both kind of felt bad for what we had done prior in the day.
Yeah.
And then top of turn 2, my friend Andrew here wins priority, comes flying at me with a Balrog, full angry, no concern for safety, right into my lines. Second turn, line clash, giant monster. And to most, this would be a lethal prospect. But I have paralyze on my side. So I threw every magic spell I could at the big red monster. And he fell over on the second paralyze attempt. He failed. He just couldn't roll the 6 and fell over. And Aldrak walked into him, heroic strength, and killed that Balrog in a single round of combat on his own. Just from 10 to 0 wounds.
A single round's tough. You imagine maybe 2, but 1 round that's a tough one to get over.
Wild.
1 round
That's
is
just wild.
egregious. Like, it should
was
have
rough.
not happened.
I do like heroic
rough.
strength when you can time it right, though. It can really make things a lot easier on
Yeah.
killing that big nasty monster.
Strength's a rewarding heroic for sure.
It's a lot of risk.
The new strength is really good. Because it
Yeah.
means if you, in like the old edition, it was a hero who was like D8, could never really be in a super terrible circumstance. It's like, oh, you trap Dane. You're going to get 1 wound on him, like maybe, and I'll get him out of there somehow. Now it's like, you trap a guy with a strength 5 hero, and that model's gone. Like, it's so easy to just break things in half. Aragorn is absolutely nuts. Even without Andoril now, because you just I strength for free. The guy just explodes. Like,
Yeah, it's true.
yeah, it's kind of crazy. But in this case, yeah, it caused the Balrog death. And then what followed was just Andrew not being able to charge anything because the whole army has terror. And he still did pretty well. He got, I think, 2 of the objectives into my board half. But I got all 3 into his.
Yeah.
And broke them and all the other things. So
Yeah, I think that one ended up, I forget what the score was. I think it was 12-3.
12-3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
it was-
had 2 hero goblins on each objective at the end of the game that stuck around through the break test, survived werewolf charges. I don't know. It should have been a 12-0, but anyway, they didn't go. I almost swore. We're not allowed to swear. They didn't care about anything. They just lived, and they're dragging their buddies onto your side of the board, which was pretty funny.
yeah, just dragging like heavy dudes across the board.
If it wasn't for those 3 points, I would have dropped down in the ranking as well. So
There you go.
Truly heroes.
Yeah, exactly. Goblin saved the day once again.
Yeah.
Keeping you on that podium.
yeah, well, that podium was a tall one. We're looking at, you scored 54 VPs that day. and only allowed 7. So like your margin of victory was 47 VPs,
Yeah.
which that's pretty insane considering the next closest was 25 for their margin of victory. So
Yeah.
Significant difference.
yeah, no, congrats, Kyle. And just looking back at the day, was there anything that, I guess, if you could highlight one or two things, like was there anything that posed like what was your biggest challenge of the day, and yeah, your biggest challenge or something that surprised you?
A Beaufort, 'cause I didn't know that was a thing until he explained to me what it did.
Yeah, I guess game 1 rolling up against an anti-magic army wasn't the greatest, eh?
Yeah, I was like, what is that? And then he told me it's like, yeah, I can use this to prevent like having to take terror checks because that's a rule that affects me. I went, can I read that? Like, it's not that I don't believe you; it's that I don't believe they did this.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me read that. And it's like, oh, so you can also roll it to not have a -1 to any courage test you take for Harbinger, and then it also ignores magic, and then and then you can use it to stop Morgul Blade and Mighty
Yeah,
Blow.
that's insane.
And
I'm
you
saying
can
it affects special
once
rules.
per turn. It's every time something happens.
Yeah, I was like, this is like there's a list of things that this interactions that this has that are probably like egregious that we just don't know. Like if you get hit with a bolt thrower on a 3-up, you aren't thrown backwards.
Yeah, so there's some really weird stuff. Even I feel like there's like a dragon breathe fire or something that just gets canceled on the 3+, right? Like there's
Probably the Balrog's fire burst ability.
yeah, there's a ton of stuff that just gets demolished by it. But yeah, anyways, thanks Kyle. Congrats again on the win. I guess, are we seeing you at a tournament anytime soon? You have any plans or anything like that?
I try my hardest to make it out to all of the local tournaments that I can. I even made it out to one of your Lindsay ones.
Yep.
A few months ago. That was a nice 2.5-hour drive out there, and a 3-hour drive back. But you know, we gotta support the team. So I try to make it out to all of those. Sadly, I won't make your next one because one of my best friends is getting married. So
That's not the right answer.
yeah.
That's why I'm not
Unfortunately,
making it either.
yeah.
Are we going to be at the same wedding?
Dude, if we are, I would be like small world. That'd be kind of crazy, honestly. But
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't think there's too much more on the schedule. So hopefully we see you around soon at another tournament, Kyle. Congrats
should be
again
able
on the
to-
win.
the TL ones. Yeah, thank you.
And
I appreciate that. Congrats on Andrew for his podium and Zach on a good performance. And I'm sorry I couldn't let you guys go all the way with that, but
Yeah, thanks a lot.
yeah,
Hey,
someone has
if
to
I
be
was
the
to
big
lose to
fish.
someone-
It just happened to be me that day, you know.
what are the
good.
chances that there's a podcast that starts and then you destroy 2 of the guys on it that have to then interview you?
That's honestly, when you asked me to come on here, I was kind of like, oh, I wonder who's doing this with. Oh, Zach and Andrew, and I get to talk about the tournament. Huh. Oh, okay. And like, you know what I mean? That's like, yeah, that was just crazy. I was like, yes, I have to do this. Like, it's like a moral responsibility of mine that I come on here and gloat about about how that went. But no, I appreciate you guys having me on for sure. Through all the trials and tribulations of getting this going, letting me bloviate about my list building genius and my tactical supremacy and how great everybody is and how much I love the community and yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks so much for coming on, Kyle. We'll catch you at the next one.
All right,
Looking to
thank you.
see
Take
what
care.
you come up with next.
Something.
Yeah,
evil,
no more host of the Witch King.
Yeah, no, I'm putting it away. No more barrel lights. Period. I'm gonna play fair MESBG from now on. Trust.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Kyle, for coming on, talking to us about the host of the Witch King and how he got on at that at the event with beating my two co-hosts, which is again shameful. But moving on. Looking ahead for the local guys in Ontario, we have a couple tournaments on the schedule, not a ton. But Andrew, yours is next. Do you want to just remind people what's going on?
Yeah, July 19th, Never Bored Game Lounge in Hamilton, Ontario. It is a board game cafe. It has a kitchen and it's fully licensed, which was part of the. Yeah. Actually, before we get any further, Torchlight, when we were there, they were working on their kitchen, and they are trying to get a license as well, so that you can have some drinks when you go to Torchlight.
Double woo.
Double Woo, which is really cool. Torchlight, already a good store, and if they have food and beers at the venue, that's going to be crazy. I feel like we're going to have a lot more events there. There already are a lot. Anyhow, the whole point of this event was to be a casual event, my event, which is why I wanted there to be a place for people to get drinks and some food and just hang around. So 80-point league event, super casual. You get points for coming in a costume. You get points for a quiz. You get points for best painted conversion display board. And then you get points for winning your games. Games are 50 points, 50-point bat reps, 9 50-point games. I've written, there's 3 scenarios. One is just kill each other. And then the other 2 I wrote, they seem pretty balanced. Some people tested. You guys looked them over and said they seemed pretty good. 50 points. If you're listening to this, consider coming, please.
And only is it $16?
16 big dollars.
Yeah.
Most of that's going to the venue.
Yeah, sweet. It'll be a good one. I'm looking forward to it. Otherwise, I was just checking the Facebook page. There is an 800-point slow grow in Kitchener on the July 26th, if that's of interest to you. And then otherwise, I have mine on August 16th. I think I'm up to 6 people signed up. Again, we're shooting for 20. I'm hoping to see some more people, but
Try to get another 100-point.
Yeah, another 100-point event would be nice. See even more Balrogs.
If you have a 100-point event, I bring the Balrog.
Greasy.
700 points, legacy models, everything's going to be included. You get an extra tournament point if you show up fully painted and based.
Love
pretty
it.
normal stuff. Everybody's getting a prize. We'll have a huge prize table with lots of stuff. I'm trying to figure out what the first place prize is going to be. I was looking at ordering a sword like I've done for the other 2, but looking at some other options too. But again, everybody gets something. It'll be a fun day. $30 if you pay in July, 25 if you pay in July, $30 if you wait till August to sign up. Yeah,
Wow.
That's a spicy call.
I'm trying to draw the people in early so I can actually know how many people are coming.
I can't.
But yeah, I think that wraps it up for us, guys. Any last thoughts?
Suck it up and paint your army.
Okay, a little aggressive.
A little aggressive. That's usually what I was going to say, but if you play monster heavy lists, you're playing the game wrong. You're having fun wrong. Play a proper list.
Oh, that's even. Why are we?
I gotta top him.
Why are we calling people out?
Who are you calling out?
I'm not calling
Hey,
anybody.
you gotta top that.
Find some friends. Get painting. It'll be fun. Hope to see you guys out at a tournament.
there's a
Sign up for
caller.
tournaments. July 19th, August 16th, July 26th. There's lots going on in Ontario. Otherwise, yeah. Thanks for coming, guys. Next time, I think will be after Andrew's tournament that we record another episode. So it'll be hopefully we get somebody on, one of the newer players, to talk about their experience at like a fun event, and kind of we'll recap what we see there and come up with another topic. But otherwise, thanks for listening. Thanks for spending some time with us.
Yeah.
Good one.
See you later. Or hear you later.
You're a loser.